Whether gross and vomit-inducing, bone-chilling and authentically terrifying, uncovering something pleasant about a beloved character, or packing a stomach-dropping twist, these horror films right here feature reveals that none of you are ready for. So I'm Gareth, this is What Culture Horror, and here are horror movie reveals nobody was ready for. Olga and Patricia are still alive, Suspiria 2018. Despite the sizable task of remaking Dario Argento's giallo cult classic, Luca Guadagnino did Suspiria justice, bringing it to new audiences and elevating its horrors with contemporary technology and a larger budget. Unfortunately, this birthed a number of rather grim surprises along the way. In the film, Dakota Johnson stars as Susie Bannon, an American ex-Mennonite who joins a prestigious dance academy in Berlin on pure talent alone. But she doesn't realize her seemingly supernatural obsession with the place has to do with more than just dancing. After all, the Marcos Dance Academy is run by a witches' coven who use their troupe of talented girls to feed their essence and keep them young. And they have a zero-tolerance policy for bad behavior. Early in the film, Olga runs afoul of this when she attempts to leave the academy, becoming trapped by magic in a room where Susie's dance elsewhere in the academy twists and bends her, breaking her bones and leaving her pretzeled, paralyzed, and on the edge of death. It would seem fair enough then for us to assume her demise after the witches carry her away on hooks. Alas, that is wishy thinking, my friend. In the third act, Sarah discovers Olga and missing student Patricia in a secret chamber, kept alive through magic, left withered and suffering for who only knows how many weeks and months. No wonder their only wish is to die, yikes. Maren's mother ate her hands, bones and all. A postmodern take on the vampire movie and a strange addition to Luca Guadagnino canon, Bones and All finds Timothy Chalamet and Taylor Russell as Lee and Maren, two 1980s runaway cannibal vampire hybrids who are drawn to flesh with an insatiable, life-ruining desire, propelled by a genetically inherited yet supernatural drive to consume. And recognizing each other as eaters, the young couple try to turn their curse into a gift, sharing an itinerant life and all the small joys it brings, while preying on those undeserving of society's spoils. And if that was where the story ended, we could all go home happy, right? But like any tale in which creatures of the night try to live in peace, there's always nastiness lurking in the dark corners. While the film's third act offers plenty of tough-to-swallow moments, the reveal of Maren's mum stands above all else. Yeah, it turns out she is also an eater, and that she has, well, she's gone and eaten her own hands. The shock of seeing Maren's mum handless and locked up in a psych hospital is only compounded by her attempt to then eat her own daughter. It's a full-on watch with moments of beauty packing all the romance of a classic gothic horror. But when it gets ugly, oh boy, it gets real ugly. And with that in mind, I want to ask right now, what is the most disturbing thing you have ever seen in a horror movie? Let me know in the comments. What's in the sack? Audition. Wedged between the video nasty era and the modern horror revival, when Asian horror had a reputation unlike any other worldwide, Takashi Miike's Audition earned a special notoriety, heralded alongside the likes of The Ring as being uniquely scary and messed up. However, while The Ring has had diminishing returns for modern viewers, Audition has held onto its status, for shock factor alone. In the film, we follow middle-aged widower Shigeharu Ayama, who looks for love in all the wrong places. He enlists his film producer Bud to help him stage fake auditions and locate a new girlfriend. When Asami Yamazaki enters the picture, she seems the perfect gal. But her strange behavior on their dates, quietly psychotic personality, and shady private life prove her to be anything but, and Shigeharu risks something far worse than being alone. Asami lives in an apartment with just a large sack and telephone for company, and no matter the violence she unleashes in Audition's final act, this is the source of the film's greatest shock. It's surprisingly late on that we discover what is in the sack, but it does not disappoint, oh no. Turns out Asami has been keeping a multiple amputee in there. missing both feet, his tongue, an ear, and 3 fingers. And to make this reveal even worse, when she lets him out the bag, he immediately begs for food, which she provides by puking into his dog bowl. Delightful. Jonathan's Head, Terrifier 3. Terrifier returned to our screens last year with a Christmas tale that lit up cinemas worldwide, something fans of Damien Leone's unrelentingly grim films could hardly have imagined just a few years ago. Number 3 sees Art the Clown back from the dead again, this time enlisting the help of his once victim Vicky, in her new demonically possessed form. The pair have it in for Sienna Shaw, who has just been released from a psychiatric facility following her brush with the clown in 2022's Terrifier 2, and will stop at nothing to make sure she suffers in full, including launching an all-out takeover of her aunt and uncle's home. Thankfully for Sienna, her younger brother Jonathan is away at college and out of harm's way this time. Oh, so she thinks. During the final sequence of chaos in the Shaw household, Art and Vicky produce a severed head whose skin has been consumed by their pet rats. They tell Sienna the head belongs to her young cousin, Gabby, but Sienna doesn't believe it for a second. And as it happens, well, she's right. That's because once Gabby is brought out as a hostage, Vicky reveals the head belongs to Jonathan, placing his glasses on the emaciated skull. Now, we have gotten so used to the head being there makes it somehow much worse when we discover who it really is. Poor Jonathan. Sloth 7. Before Saw, there was 7. David Fincher's odyssey of pain and suffering, in which Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman star as detectives Mills and Somerset, thrown together on Somerset's final case, trying to stop mysterious serial killer John Doe from committing murders based on the 7 deadly sins. Unlike the 2000s sensationalist splatter movies, however, most of Seven's grim trials are discovered after the fact, after their victim has endured Doe's trials and come a cropper. Look, none of Seven's bloody, gory, violent, and sickening tableaus are exactly easy viewing, and yet there is one that stands out from the rest. The first 2 discoveries of the case, gluttony and greed, feature crime scenes where Doe's victims have been forced to eat until they burst and cut off their own flesh until they bleed out. But these only serve as the openings for where they lead Mills and Somerset next. Sloth. They uncover a man tied to a bed and covered in sores in a derelict apartment strung with air fresheners. Left to decay for an entire year, his body is emaciated and decidedly alien. But that's not the worst of it. Oh, no. On closer inspection, the police unit discover he is still alive as the man coughs back into action, writhing and straining like a zombie. If the shock of his reanimation doesn't get you, the state of his face certainly does. Yeah, this had me crapping my pants during the first watch, and still does to this day. If you're finding this look at horror reveals not a single soul was ready for interesting, then hit that subscribe button below and you'll get even more What Culture horror videos in your life. The Hunchback's Secret Kill List. British psychological horrors have an extra layer of nasty to them, don't they? Maybe it's the familiar setting, the everyday characters, or the lack of a Hollywood sheen. But Ben Wheatley's Kill List is a sordid, morbid affair. Soldier turned hitman Jay gets wrapped up in a world of horrors when he takes a job for a clandestine organization that have him kill a priest, a librarian, and an MP, all of whom are involved in the production of some sickening content involving ritual sacrifice and who only knows what else. But none of us could predict where the film goes next. After taking on the cultists involved with the MP and company, Jay is captured, stripped, and made to fight a mysterious cloaked hunchback, whom he stabs to death. Except the hunchback isn't a target. It's Jay's child strapped to the back of his wife. The very people he was trying to make his hitman dollar for, who the cultists captured and tricked him into slaying. Nothing, not a damn thing can prepare us for the reveal. And when Jay falls to the ground in horror, we only wish that we could go down with him. Devastating doesn't even cut it, people. The Fate of the Family, Midsommar. Ari Aster returns to the big screen this year with a comedy western, but the director's style lends itself so well to horror, opening up exciting new narrative and visual avenues. And Midsommar is a prime example of this. set for the most part in a sunlit valley with nary a jump scare to be found, but ranking among the most chilling movies this century. But before we get to that valley, Mr. Astor has a nasty surprise waiting. The film opens by introducing us to protagonist Danny, her worthless boyfriend Christian, and his uni mates. We spend 10 minutes or so in their company, with Danny fretting about her depressed sister, and Christian and co planning a trip abroad. Then the lead into the opening titles begins, with ominous, dragging violins, moody lighting, and a slightly slow-mo edit. We are treated to a deeply cinematic crawl around a suburban house. It's atmospheric, smoky, stylish, and stylized, with action unfolding as emergency workers move through it. But nothing, and I mean nothing, prepares us for the upstairs bedrooms. Danny's sister has hooked up the exhaust from the car to a series of hose pipes, which she has taped to her own face and under her parents' bedroom door. It is truly shocking and actually deeply upsetting. Blood and gore and crazy kills are one thing, but a family murder-suicide staged so realistically is almost too much to take. So early in the film, and apropos of nothing, the picnic tableau, the house that Jack built. To give Lars von Trier his due, this entire video could have been composed solely from the house that Jack built reveals. Never mind his other films, but here we're choosing just the one. In the defining role of the second half of his career, Matt Dillon stars as Jack, a serial killer with a quirky personality and wanton approach to his craft that begs for him to be caught. Now, we can't say any of his kills are exactly pleasant to watch, but the hunting scene packs that extra gut punch. Jack takes a mother and her 2 young sons out to the woods for some rifle practice, where he takes both boys out with headshots. Bad enough, right? The BBFC certainly thought so, as the bulk of what comes next is only available in the unrated director's cut of the film. Jack stages the boys' bodies, blown out heads, smashed legs and all, next to their living, grieving mother in a faux picnic to cap the day's excitement. It is a horror scene the like of which few of us imagined we would ever witness, never mind in such an unnervingly juxtaposed arrangement. The bucolic setting, picnic setup, and lack of any outward panic at what's going on, no screaming, shouting, ambulances, or any of the conventional reactions we might expect at the sight of dead children, make it a reveal that strains your entire system. And that's without even mentioning what Jack does next. If you don't know, I won't spoil it, just watch it. Or maybe don't. Wrong House, Eden Lake. An exercise in abject misery that taps into not just cinema's obsession with the scary countryside, but also the average Brit's fear of feral youths. James Watkins' Eden Lake takes a strong constitution to get through. Jenny and Steve head out on a weekend away at Eden Lake, a remote spot in the English countryside where the grass is supposed to be green, the trees tall, and the waters calm. Unfortunately, Jenny and Steve hadn't reckoned on the local chav elements stalking their campsite, as a gang led by Brett trashed their belongings, ruin their food, hijack their car, and, well, kill Steve. Absolutely off the rails and unaccountable to parents who insist that nothing's wrong, Brett's actions lead to the incidental and intentional deaths of several of his buds, before Jenny makes her escape into the nearby town. After a harrowing ordeal, we're relieved to find Jenny in the company of a party full of people, safe inside someone's house, and finally free of the nightmare that she's been through. Or is she? Perhaps the biggest bottom falling out of your stomach moment in modern horror cinema has Jenny and us realize that she is in Brett's home, surrounded by the parents of all the dead gang members. Uh-oh. The violence that follows is inevitable, but the film could end right here, to be honest, and still have exactly the same impact. Now continue your YouTube journey by clicking on another What Culture Horror video right here. You're in for a scary time, but I know that's what you want. See you later.